Good evening. The October 16, 2024 meeting of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education will please come to order. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Bourdain.
Here.
Mr. Delapietro.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed.
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Here.
Mr. Velez.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here. Mr. Secretary, as required by the Sunshine Law, please read the notice of meetings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted as follows. On January 25th, 2024, and July 26th, 2024, emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office, posted in Ross Street School Number 11, and the Board of Education Administration Building, also published on the school district website.
Thank you, Ms. Wolferman. Ms. Bourdain, please read the closed session statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. In compliance with the Sunshine Law, the board must go into closed session in order to discuss subjects exempted from the public portion of our meeting. The discussions to be held in closed session will be regarding personnel matters, and the board will receive attorney-client advice. In addition, there will be a discussion regarding a student matter. Any information regarding the closed session discussion will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing those matters in closed session no longer exist.
Thank you, Ms. Bourdain. I have a motion by Ms. Bourdain. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Bourdain, seconded by Ms. Perez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. The board retires to closed session. We'll be out as soon as possible. Thank you. Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Do I have a motion to reconvene?
So motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Treebwasser, seconded by Mr. Delapietro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Bourdain.
Here.
Mr. Delapietro.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed.
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Here.
Mr. Velez.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here. Will someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings?
So
Motion?
Second. Good. Good. Do I have a second? I heard it already. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none. All right. I have a motion by Mr. Velez, seconded by Mr. Delapietro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Very good. Mr. Secretary, please state for the record any notices of bids or proposals received by the board.
Thank you, Mr. President. There were no bids or proposals received.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Massimino, please introduce our student representative, Sophia Grasso from Colonial High School.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Sophia Grasso is a senior at Colonial High School where she serves as student council president. Sophia is also a member of various honor societies, including National Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, Science Honor Society, Rho Kappa, and Spanish Honor Society. In addition, Sophia serves as captain of the varsity cheerleading team and has been a team member all 4 years. Because she is an athlete and role model, Sophia was chosen as a member of Woodbridge Township's Heroes and Cool Kids program, where high school students mentor middle school students. Lastly, she is also a member of the Township Society for the Prevention of Teen Suicide. Sophia was inducted into the International Thespian Society at the conclusion of her freshman year and is currently holding her second executive board position of vice president after serving as secretary the previous year. Sophia has performed in every production since the fall of her freshman year, playing such roles as Stacy in Bar Mitzvah Boy, Ancestor in The Addams Family, Mrs. White in Clue on Stage, Mayor Matilda Hyde in All Shook Up, Leanne in Puffs, and Little Red in Into the Woods. Sophia is currently playing her most difficult role yet, Jillian, in To Jillian on her 37th birthday, which opens on November 15th. She is a dedicated member of our theater program here at Colonial High School. In addition to the school plays and musicals, she also spent part of her summer performing in Beauty and the Beast at Middlesex County's Plays in the Park. In her spare time, Sophia volunteers her time at her grammar school, St. John Vianney School, as a junior cheerleading coach and then as assistant to their yearly drama productions. I do want to add one thing. It is not on this and I will address this with the wrestling coach at Colonia High School at a later time. But she has also been a 4-year stat keeper for the varsity wrestling program, which takes a lot of time and patience, especially considering the traveling they do and the schedule they keep. So I will certainly speak with the coach, Ms. Grasso, and the athletic director as well. And we do thank you for all the things you do. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Massimino, members of COLT, President Harris, and members of the Board of Education for inviting me here this evening. I'm going to get started. At School 1 on September 30th, the Mad Science program kicked off. The Grade 5 DARE program started on October 3rd. October 7th through 11th, the entire school recognized the Week of Respect and Inclusion with various themed days. The Literacy Lunch Brunch for Grade 5 was held on October 8th, and Grades 3 and 4 participated in a Minding Your Own assembly on the same day. On October 10th, the Family Math program started for Grade 3. Also on October 10th, the Woodbridge High School Spanish Honor Society visited in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Yesterday was Wear Pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Tomorrow there will be a Fire Week assembly, and on October 18th, Grade 5 will participate in a vaping presentation. At Schools 4 and 5, October was the start of Grade 1 through 3 monthly library visits. On October 1st, the Grade 5 DARE program kicked off. And on the same day, the Mad Science program starts. Woodbridge High School Spanish Honor Society visits for Hispanic Heritage Month took place on October 2nd. There was a Grade 5 vaping assembly on October 4th. From October 7th to October 11th, the school held a Spirit Week for the Week of Respect and Inclusion. October 8th was Picture Day. There was a Fire Week assembly on October 10th. The truck or treat will take place on October 18th, and the Halloween parade will be on October 31st. At School 20, Claremont Spirit Day was on September 20th with the start of the Cougar Compliments Positive Behavior Program. On September 27th, the first annual Claremont Avenue Family Carnival Night was hosted by the Claremont PTO. For the school's character education acknowledgement, the month of October is Respect. October 3rd was Picture Day. From October 7th to 11th, the school celebrated the Week of Respect and Inclusion. On October 9th, the Colonia Fire Department provided presentations for Fire Prevention Month. There was a vaping presentation for the 5th grade students on October 16th. A Grand Falloons assembly will take place on October 17th. The Scholastic Book Fair will take place on October 22nd and 23rd. There will be a Pink Out Day for Breast Cancer Awareness Month on October 23rd as well. The Claremont Avenue PTO will host a Halloween parade and trunk or treat on October 25th. And on October 31st, during Harvest Fest, students will participate in STEAM activities: science, technology, engineering, art, and music. At School 21, there were Eagle Pride assemblies on Friendship Friday, held September 13th and October 4th. The Scholastic Book Fair took place from October 7th to the 9th. From October 7th to 11th, the school celebrated the Week of Respect and Inclusion with various spirit days. There was a Grand Falloons assembly on October 11th. The school will continue to celebrate School Safety Week, which started on October 15th and will run until October 21st. There will be a new crosswalk ribbon cutting this Friday, October 18th. A trunk or treat sponsored by the PTO will take place on October 28th. Grade 3 will take a trip to Turtleback Zoo on October 29th. And lastly, on October 31st, there will be a Halloween parade and parties. At School 22, on September 20th, they had their first Spirit Day of the school year. Students had a flag raising and a walkathon in honor of childhood cancer awareness. On October 2nd, the Grand Falloons delivered their entertaining Recycle and Litter Earth Science presentations to students. From October 7th through 11th, students participated in a week of inclusion and respect that included daily inclusion and respect-centered themes and activities. Also, from October 7th through 11th, students recognized Fire Prevention Week, culminating with an assembly led by Fire Marshal. Students even got to explore a real fire truck. At School 23, students celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. The Mad Science program started in October. From October 7th to the 11th, the school participated in a week of respect and inclusion. Fire Prevention Day took place on October 8th. On October 10th, students were able to visit a mobile dentist. There was a fall festival on October 15th. Tomorrow, on October 17th, there will be an ABC parade. Students will partake in a vaping assembly on October 22nd. The Halloween parade will take place on October 31st. And lastly, there will be a Diwali celebration on November 1st. At School 24, they celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. Everyone is encouraged to wear pink on Fridays for the month of October. The Week of Respect was celebrated from October 7th to 11th. School Awareness Week is set to start on October 21st and is running until October 25th. October 23rd is scheduled for a trunk or treat, and on October 31st, there will be a Halloween parade. At School 27, Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations ran from September 15th to October 15th. There was a Lions Color Run on October 5th. Students participated in the Week of Respect and Week of Inclusion with a Spirit Week from October 7th to 11th. The Scholastic Book Fair started on October 15th and will run until October 17th. On October 17th, there will be a Grade 5 vaping assembly. October 21st to October 25th is designated as School Violence Awareness Week. There will be a School Picture Day on October 25th, as well as a trunk or treat event. On October 30th, the Colonia Fire Department will visit, and on October 31st, the students will participate in the Halloween parade. At Avenel Middle School, students celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. The 7th to the 11th of October, they celebrated the Week of Respect and Inclusion. On October 11th, a guidance night was hosted where parents were invited to meet the guidance counselors and learn more about Genesis Parent Portal, HIB laws, social emotional learning, and the dangers of substance abuse. 8th grade students attended an assembly on the dangers of vaping on October 12th. Student Violence Awareness or School Violence Awareness Week will be from October 21st to October 25th. There will be a Halloween dance on October 24th. Clubs and after-school activities have started with 20 clubs that students can sign up for. And lastly, during the month of October, the baseball and softball teams concluded their season and the baseball team qualified for the playoffs. At Colonia Middle School, they had an outstanding beginning to their 2024 to 2025 school year with their school goals of developing a positive learning environment and preparing all students for success at the high school level and beyond. The school received a Digital School Star for excellence in educational technology. There are currently one of only 63 schools in New Jersey to receive this honor. CMS continues to celebrate anti-bullying and respect and inclusion with a variety of school-wide activities. For Hispanic Heritage Month, they hosted an 8th grade event which celebrated culture and food sampling. The Colonia Cup, located in their front lobby, is open for business. Not only is this a fully functioning takeout coffee shop that provides special education students with life skills involved in running a small business, but the coffee is great. The CMS sports teams are focused on demonstrating hard work and outstanding sportsmanship this fall season. Their community service club led school-wide participation in a clothing drive to benefit local families in need. Our PBIS program and committee has used Patriot Points to reinforce the expectations of our 3 R's: responsibility, respect, and readiness. The Student Council continues to coordinate school-wide spirit activities, including recent efforts to support breast cancer awareness. The Big Brothers Big Sisters mentoring program starts with CMS students with high school mentors and their sidekicks. Program allowed to select students to mentor their elementary students. The Fridays Friends program pairs special needs and general education students as buddies. Each week, the buddies spend time together on various activities. The PTO has coordinated for special events for students, including the upcoming 6th grade Halloween dance. And the Gardening Club has used the award-winning Sustainability Courtyard to help implement green initiatives. And at Colonia High School, the fall play To Jillian on Her 37th Birthday will be performed on November 15th at 7 p.m. and November 16th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Get your tickets. We hope to see you there. 60 CHS Patriot Ambassadors welcomed the 260-plus new students at CHS New Student Orientation on August 27th. CHS will team up with Island Middle School for Monmouth University's the Central Jersey Consortium for Excellence and Equity. CHS Cheer and Dance completed their second youth clinic and performances at the varsity football game on September 27th. Their program raised $175 to be donated to the Eric LeGrand's partner, the Christopher and Donna Reeve Foundation. 41 CHS science research students took a trip to the College of New Jersey in Ewing, New Jersey to take a tour of their various science facilities and labs, as well as to attend the undergraduate science research poster session. 37 CHS science research students attended a research trip to Sandy Hook, New Jersey. While there, the students worked with scientists from the NJC Grant Consortium to understand the ecosystem of this barrier peninsula better. The English Honor Society will be inducting 22 members into their Honor Society on October 22nd. And finally, the DEI Council donated $2,400 to the Garden State Equality Education Fund. Thank you for this opportunity for me to be a part of this event's Board of Education meeting.
Sophia, I've never done this before. I have a question for you. On the front page, you had talked about October 18, a crosswalk ribbon cutting. What school was that? I missed it.
Let me see.
Oh, you got it, huh? Holding out on me?
She just came here to read. Don't make her work. Yes, school. 21.
School 21. All right, cool. Excellent. All right. You're off the hook. All right.
Have
Well,
a good
thank you,
night.
Sophia, for the very detailed report. Tonight, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like, but if you have homework.
Appreciate it. I do have homework. So
Okay, all right. You got homework.
have a good night,
Very good.
everyone.
All right. Thank you to your family for joining us, and Mr. Chiara, Principal, Colonial High School, thank you for being here, as always. Excellent. All right. Thank you again, Sophia. Dr. Massimino, please state for the record the superintendent's reports for the month of September 2024.
Thank you, Mr. President. I present the following reports to the board. The Register of Statistics, a report of fire drills, student suspension report for elementary, student suspension report for secondary, bond threat reports, and the monthly report of the attendance officers.
All right, excellent. Thank you. The Woodbridge Township Board of Education welcomes and encourages active, productive, and respectful participation by members of the public and seeks to protect the First Amendment rights of those who engage in the exercise of free speech. Members of the public are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of those whose legal rights may be impacted. The public portion is now invited to speak. The public is now invited to speak regarding the agendas being presented this evening. When you come to the microphone, please provide your name and the section of the township in which you reside, along with the specific agenda item you wish to discuss. As per Regulation 1100D, comments must be limited to no more than 5 minutes. No response will be given until you have completed your opportunity to speak. Is anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item tonight? An agenda item? Hi, Mr. Lund.
Hi, President Harris.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Personnel, I guess, would come into play here, right?
Yes, it would.
Okay. I understand that a recent hire, a vice president over at Woodbridge High School, was terminated for controversial posts. And I was wondering if there was any basis for that, and if so, why wasn't that picked up before he got hired?
Well, it's a personnel item. I can't get into details,
Okay.
but as you,
Wasn't terminated.
okay, oh, yeah, I apologize. I missed that aspect of the agenda item. That individual is on the agenda this evening as item number 3, if you want to take a look at that.
Okay.
We've heard those same allegations, and we are investigating.
Okay.
Dr. Massimino or, Caitlin, anything to add to that I missed or need to be corrected?
No,
Okay.
just that we are not permitted to comment on personnel matters generally, and so we're not going to be going into any specifics. But certainly to the extent that there's some information that the board has received, the district is looking into it and investigating, and that's all we can really say at this time.
Understood.
And I believe there is an agenda item that speaks for itself.
That's correct.
Right.
Gotcha.
Is that suspended with pay, I guess, would be the standard approach when?
That is the standard required by law, yes.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. If you could just state your name and address for the record, or just the town.
My name is Clifford Murrows. I'm from Port Reading,
Okay, thank you. Hi.
and I would like to piggyback off of that because I know a lot of teachers were interviewed for vice principal in Woodbridge High School. They were overlooked for an outside person, which is this person. Where he came from, nobody knows. But looking at what I've seen online, personally, it's disgusting. So how nobody did an investigation of this person before he was hired, I'm very upset about that. My kid's going to these schools and we're making these decisions. It's the statements he made about going after people, putting bounties out on people, and other statements against Israel and promoting Hamas. It's disgusting. I saw it personally. This isn't third hand. Not happy with it. Not happy that all the people in town, we have a huge township, plenty of people to pick from. Somehow this guy gets in. Not following, not really sure why. He goes under this name, Mo Pesci, and he has an alter ego, I guess. Disgusting. I'm not happy with the decision that was made to hire this person, and I really think you guys need to do better.
Thank you for your comments. Seeing no others wishing to speak on the agenda items, Dr. Massimino, would you please provide an overview of the graduation profile of the class of 2023-2024 school year, please?
Absolutely, Mr. Harris. So in response to the graduation report, 99% of our students in the senior class graduated, which is excellent. It's a 1% increase from last year. 3/4 of those students will go on to 2- or 4-year colleges. And we had 16 students enlist in the military. So we will continue to strive for 100% graduation rate, and we seem to keep getting closer. So it's a good report to deliver.
All right, great. All right, thank you very much. Next up, Dr. Massimino, not off the hook just yet. Dr. Massimino, please provide an overview of the annual district report of violence and vandalism for 2023-2024 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. If you take a look at the report, all but one category saw a decrease. Our HIV allegations and confirmed were substantially down. I attribute a lot of that to the efforts that the board has been supportive of in terms of putting extra counselors, SAC coordinators in the middle schools. I think the security officers have been a wonderful addition. So, we'll continue to strive to see the numbers in each category go down on a year-to-year basis. But we are pleased with the progress. Obviously, never satisfied, but we are happy with the progress, and we'll continue to strive accordingly. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And just one more time, superintendent's reports. Do you have any recommendations for us?
My superintendent's agenda, I have 17 items to present to the board, Mr. Harris.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Treebwasser, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain,
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro,
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser,
Yes.
Mr. Velez,
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes, I apologize. Oh, I'll talk to you afterwards. Thank you very much. Communication Policy and Planning Agenda, Mr. Mohammed.
Mr. President, the Communication Policy and Planning Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, presents the following 8 recommendations. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Mohammed. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Mohammed, seconded by Mr. Treebwasser. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Apologize, we were just having a chat there about some items. Seeing no comments from anybody, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Curriculum, extracurricular activities and technology, that would be Mr. Treebwasser, covering for Mr. Sedana.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. The Curriculum and Extracurricular Activities and Technology Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, presents the following 9 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treebwasser. But before, I'll ask for a second first, and then we'll have Mr. Pasquarino deliver his two presentations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Treebwasser, seconded by Mr. Della Pietro. Before we go to that roll call vote, Mr. Pasquarino, I believe you have two presentations for us this evening.
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight's NJSLA presentation is made up of score reports for the 2023-2024 spring NJSLA. Students were tested in grades 3 through 9 in both ELA and math, and the report contains a district analysis in Section 1, a demographic analysis in Section 2, and intervention strategies in Section 3. What's important for parents to understand is those intervention strategies are both the tools and services provided by the school district to supplement their students' instruction in an effort to ensure they are on or at least demonstrating growth towards grade level indicators, like the NJSLS. I would encourage our families to discuss any concerns with their classroom teacher, who will be able to provide your family a more tailored approach and understanding of the tools being provided. Approximately 3 weeks ago, we sent a letter home to parents for the students who took these tests. The letter contained information relevant to accessing a detailed breakdown of their child's score report. Should the families have any questions, I would encourage them to contact the guidance department in their respective schools, again, if they're having difficulty accessing those scores. Item number 2 on the agenda is the dynamic learning maps. The dynamic learning maps is an alternative assessment designed for students with significant cognitive disabilities. It aligns with academic standards and focuses on measuring the knowledge and skills of those students in subjects like English language arts and math. Assessments typically taken by students in our special education programs who meet specific eligibility criteria. Provides a way to evaluate their learning progress in a more accessible format compared to our standard assessments. The assessment's administered one-to-one with their classroom teacher.
Excellent. Before we move to a vote, any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Della Pietro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Finance and Insurance Agenda, Mr. Treebwasser.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Insurance Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following 9 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Thank you, Mr. Treebwasser. I have a motion by Mr. Treebwasser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Treebwasser, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Della Pietro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Buildings and Grounds, Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Buildings and Grounds Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, present the following 1 item. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Excellent. I have a motion by Ms. Perez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Perez, seconded by Mr. Della Pietro. Any comments or questions from the board? Okay, I'm just a couple notes here. Just want to throw out a couple thank yous and recognitions. Thanks to the Buildings and Grounds staff, along with our dining services management, for getting open the Woodbridge High School kitchen. I understand from the public there's some frustration, as well as the students, was some frustration about the delays there. That was all tied in with construction and supplies and inspections and things of that nature. Sometimes things just take longer than expected, but we're happy that the kitchen is open and operational once again, and we hope you have a good school year with that. And some minor things need to be addressed, but they will be addressed in due time. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. And finally, as we had seen online from comments from some parents regarding portion sizes, quality control, regarding some of the dining, Mr. Wolferman and the dining services management team, they're on top of that and making sure our food service vendor, Pontonian, addresses those issues. So want to thank the public for letting us know your concerns, and we address that. Oh, that was dining. That was Buildings and Grounds. But it's still related. It's still related. Okay. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Della Pietro.
Yes.
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Roll call. Oh, geez. Wow. Man, my game is off today. What is going on? All right, we're moving on. Dining and Transportation Agenda, Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Dining and Transportation Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, present the following 6 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. I have a motion by Ms. Perez. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Perez, seconded by Ms. Bourdain. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro.
Yes?
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Personnel agenda, Mr. Delapietro.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Personnel Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, presents the following 45 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Second.
Thank you. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Delapietro. Do I have a second? Mr. Treebwasser. Motion by Mr. Delapietro, seconded by Mr. Treebwasser. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro.
Yes?
Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser.
I will be abstaining in the name Linda Treebwasser on item 23, yes on all other items.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. Is there any old business that should be brought before the attention of the board? Seeing none. Any new business? Anybody? All right. Well, I know I have a couple, or I think just the one.
I just wanted to congratulate Dr. Massimino and Ms. Anderson on their induction into the Hall of Fame. Just thought they deserved a little recognition. It's quite an
All
accomplishment.
right. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Since they didn't give you a chance to give a speech, would you like to do it now? Either one of you? No?
Thank you.
The 3-hour dinner wasn't enough. Anybody else wishing to say anything before I jump in?
Just got one thing.
Yes, Mr. Delapietro.
On October 21st, at Sipperstein's Paints at 372 New Brunswick Avenue, they're going to be doing their car show with the trunk or treat this year. So if anybody wants to bring their kids down, they're more than welcome.
Thanks, Frank. What date was that again?
October 21st, it's
21st.
Monday.
Excellent.
It starts 5:30.
All right, very good. All right, New Brunswick Avenue and Fords. All right, anybody else?
Through the chair.
Oh, yes, all right.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to remind our families that the PSAT and SAT details were emailed home recently by your school's respective high school. That date should be coming up. It's in about a week, October 23rd. I'd like to remind all our students to charge their devices before they come into school. That day, make sure you have a fully charged device, and should you have any tech concerns, you should report that prior to the testing day to your school's testing team.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pastorani. Great plug there. And make sure, not only do you charge your laptop, but you also charge your own batteries. Make sure you get a good night's sleep and a good breakfast. A healthy, nutritious breakfast. Ms. Perez?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Woodbridge Township Counseling Departments will sponsor a financial aid workshop for the benefit of our district students. This workshop will be taking place on Wednesday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Woodbridge High School Auditorium. Anyone with questions is encouraged to call Woodbridge High School Counseling Department. And for any other information, this is also on our website. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Perez. Ms. Bourdain?
Mr. President, thank you. I just have a couple of announcements. The Woodbridge Elks is having a chicken parm dinner that benefits the Special Children's Committee. They use those funds to do activities with the special needs children of our district. You're all invited to come. It's $25 a person. I think there might be a slight discount for the children. It's October 19th from 6:30 to 11. Any questions, contact Trish at tevanik@comcast.net. That's October 19th from 6:30 to 11. Also, I'd like to thank Dareth Voorhees for hosting and monitoring the President's Council PTO on October 9th. I want to thank Mayor McCormick and Dr. Massimino, as well as President Harris, for giving us such great updates on the district. And also Sunday, October 30th is Coptoberfest. I think it's a makeup for
National
Night Out that got rained out. So our police department is putting on a Coptoberfest that will have food, live music, and games on October 30th at the Community Center from 3 to 6. Oh, I'm sorry, that's at Parker Press. My bad.
Yep.
Parker Press usually is at the Community Center.
Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to go out and have a great time.
And Ms. Bourdain, yes, go ahead, Mr. Del
Just one more thing that just popped in my mind. 2 nights ago, one of our employees at JFK had a devastating fire. They lost everything. They're doing fundraisers. If you look in the Colonial area, I know Debbie Meehan just posted one. But if you want to help the families, there was 2 houses that burned. They lost everything. So, donations or whatever you could help them out with would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you for that plug.
Frank, there are, sorry, just to piggyback on that, there are GoFundMe set up in case you couldn't make it to the fundraisers.
Excellent, thank you. Anybody else on this side?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
Sure.
The police department is currently seeking applicants for crossing guards, school crossing guard positions. You can apply on the Township website. It's a great part-time job, and anybody's interested, please visit that website, and the description and everything is there, and the training is supplied by the police department.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Velez. Anybody else on this side? All right. Just a couple items. With that Coptoberfest that Ms. Bourdain had mentioned, I'm going to do a board table again, similar to the St. James Street Fair that we did. So if anyone, member of the public, is intimidated about coming to a meeting and a microphone, you can see some of the board members at the Coptoberfest. Again, that's October 20 at Parker Press from 3 to 6 p.m. And then just 2 small items for me. Just thank yous to the administration. First to Mr. Ali. You had brought up in our Equity Commission meeting this past week about the cultural celebration survey that you received robust responses on. We had a parent come to the meeting back in the spring asking us as a board and then administration to consider some of the religious holidays or cultural holidays that many people in this community, as a diverse community, celebrate. If we would keep in mind, or at least be knowledgeable when scheduling different programming or after-school events, if we would be mindful. So Mr. Ali and his team put together a survey to seek feedback from the community. What holidays do they celebrate at home? We've received robust information, and I know we'll put that to good use. And that's what could come out of Board of Education meetings, parents telling us how they'd like to see their school district run. So thank you, Mr. Ali, for making that happen. And then finally, as I was listening to the student rep, she was talking in multiple times about programming at the school level about the dangers of vaping. Vaping is those electronic cigarettes that sometimes are flavored and our young people have an interest in, and can be very harmful to their health. I know the township had an event today, same time as our board meeting. So I want to thank the administration, whether that's the curriculum office or the school nurses, whomever put that together. Just want to thank you for educating our young people on the dangers of vaping. So thank you very much to Dr. Massimino, you and your team. With that concludes my remarks. Anybody else before we move on to the public portion? Seeing none. All right, I'll read my script here. We will now open the meeting for public comment. If you wish to say something, please come to the microphone. Provide your name and the section of the township in which you reside for the record. Again, members of the public are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of those legal rights may be impacted. Please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes in accordance with Regulation 1100D. No response will be given until you have fully completed all of your comments so as not to interrupt your 5-minute opportunity to speak. If you have anything to say, please come to us at the microphone.
Paul Lund, Hope Lawn.
Yes.
There's some controversial policies, there's no doubt about it, and I've been bringing them up for 2 years now. The only reason I bring it up, policy 5756 yet again, is yet another district has rescinded the policy, finding that it's no longer mandatory. Edison Township did overturn policy 5756, which is student or child-centered, gives them the ability on their say-so to say, my parents will kill me if they find out. Don't tell them that I want to socially transition and I want you to actively lie to my parents. How it gets by FERPA law, I don't know. I've been standing on the morality of confusing children about their gender. I mean, We know that puberty can be confusing, but most people, and they find that well over 60%, I've seen upward statistics of 80% of young adults figure it out. They may not feel like the other boys, feel like the other girls, but sure enough, that endocrine system kicks in and they make that transition successfully. Now you're pushing it all the way down to second grade, giving gender as a choice. It's wrong. I think many of you know that. I think my question is, do you agree with that policy? Do you think letting the child make those kinds of decisions with the parents not being in the loop is a right thing to do? And I think the two of you that are running for re-election, you should be very bold, and if you believe in it, stand for it. If you don't believe in it and it's just to get more money from the state, well, that's between you and your conscience. That's number one. Number two, there's a policy that's pending, and I'd like to get your take on it. It's called the Freedom to Read Act, which is really basically protecting the American Library Association to put pornography on the shelves and make it available in schools and in the public library. There are apps like Grindr, which is basically allows children to find out how to hook up. And there's prostitution on Grindr, and it's making it so that there's no legal consequence for making that kind of material available. How that gets by with the obscenity laws in New Jersey, I have no idea. Maybe our esteemed attorney can fill us in on that. And I yield.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lund. So as I have stated at previous meetings, we've talked about policy 5756 in our Policy and Planning Committee. One, just so you know, we don't have a policy 5756. It's a different
number,
numerically.
the same content.
But we understand where you're going with it. As we have talked with council and the administration, the law requires us to follow effectively what the policy mandates. The policy that we have adopted, as have the majority of school districts, provides a layman's terms guide for our schools in which to follow. If we were to repeal it, our law firm would still get the same questions that the policy enumerates and helps address on a day-to-day basis. So the law still stays on the books. If we were to repeal it, the law still stays on the books and we still have to follow it. However, we would be calling the attorney's office every time we had a question about it. So it provides us guidance. And our committee, and I support them on this, doesn't want to repeal the policy. Edison
you can
is
keep
welcome to do
secrets
as they
from
want.
parents on something as consequential and life-changing as transitioning.
Okay.
That's what you're saying. And you're saying it's mandatory.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Your public portion is up, but I think I caught part of that as I was
I just needed
thinking here.
clarification. Thank you.
As we have talked with Mr. Bush, and he walked us through basically all the case law. This was last winter. He walked us through this whole process. And when a child is struggling or questioning or what have you, when they speak with their school counselor, the number one thing that Mr. Bush informed us, and Caitlin's subbing in for him this evening, as you could see, so I'm leaning towards you here, was that the school counselors, the number one thing they try to do is facilitate conversations with parents. Number two, I've always wanted to say this candidly. If you're a good parent, which I suspect most parents are, if your child is transitioning or questioning, you see it, you know it. Every parent I know knows their kids better than everybody else. So the idea that we're withholding information from parents is a little far-fetched and ludicrous. I was once a child, I am not a parent, but I was once a child, and my parents, they knew things well before they were happening.
Why did they need the verbiage then in the policy? That it was student-centered and that they could keep it from the parents. If they knew that most parents are good and gracious about receiving that information, why'd they even have to mandate it?
Because it was to protect the students in the instances where we believe the child's safety is endangered. Now, and I apologize, I have to be consistent with the rules about the back and forth and the timing, and I hope you respect that. And finally, about the policy pending in Trenton, the Freedom to Read Act, which passed the Assembly and is now waiting a consideration in the Senate, that establishes a a policy by which libraries, school libraries, public libraries would follow relative to a member of the public wishing for a book to be banned within that particular library. It would set up a process by which a library committee would review said book for its appropriateness and so on. The idea that, what you said, that, this is like the pornography industry trying to push porn into library, that's just ludicrous. I mean, one, we're not the library board. Two, we're a school district. One, I don't think we have any libraries remaining in our schools, unfortunately, due to space considerations and then the changing nature of media, everything being largely multimedia. We would not allow pornography in our schools. If you have concerns about libraries, school libraries, you're talking to the right people today, but the Woodbridge Public Library or any other library, you want to take it up with them. So I want to just close the case there. So thank you for being here. Anybody else? Yes, come on down. You're next.
My name is Gerald Maglio, and I represent the Dolores Turco Foundation. I did send a letter to everyone on the board. Firstly, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I commend you on some of the high quality of education you have here, particularly in math. But I do have concerns regarding the 57, 56, and the sexualization of children in the schools. I'm hoping you did get a chance to read what I wrote, so I don't have to repeat some of the things. But I just want to point out the 5756 is in complete violation of the laws. It defies science, it defies the law, it's unconstitutional, unscientific, and is motivated by interests other than compassion. I did send you a very long summary of the laws and why it does violate the law. And 5756, while there are laws in effect for parents that are abusive, but this is assuming that there are parents, that all parents the state's not going to come to the school board's aid financially when they're sued by parents who are harmed by these policies. It's a violation of the 14th Amendment, and it's a violation of freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I will bring you up, if you did get to read my letter, I'll just bring you up to date with some of the cases. A Virginia school district recently paid $575,000 to settle a lawsuit brought on by a Christian teacher who was fired for refusing to use the pronouns of trans-identified students. And he was defended by the Alliance Defending Freedom, who now have a group that are formed an organization to protect teachers. Also in California, the California district paid $360,000 in settlement to a teacher who was also fired for refusing to comply with these transgender policies. Some very disturbing news came out this week, covered the horrific truth that 14,000 minors in the U.S. have undergone gender transition treatments and surgeries in the past 5 years. And that's generated $120 million for doctors and hospitals. Children are being used as pawns, and it starts as the social transition using pronouns, but they are most likely, when it starts socially, to be driven into a medical experiment that strips them of their health, their future, and their innocence. 55,700 have undergone irreversible surgeries, and 8,500 have been prescribed puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones that are also irreversible. These policies are driven by ideologies and greed. Bottom line, I think if you did read my last letter, you can see that some of the promoters of these policies are billionaires, like the owner of the Hyatt Hotel. You have also the Warren Buffett, who are population control advocates. You also have the pharmaceutical industry as well. And In addition, I wanted to point out a few things about there's a correlation between the sexualization of children in schools and the increase in mental illness. I'm sure you're aware that 60%, according to CDC, 60% of American female students experience persistent sadness and hopelessness, and 30% seriously consider attempting suicide. And 1 in 5 experience sexual violence. Also, the CDC found that high school students who had no sexual contact were far less likely to feel sad, hopeless, seriously consider suicide, or be victims of forced sex. In addition, you have STDs that has emerged as a national epidemic with 20 million new cases each year, and half are 15 to 24-year-olds. So we have to be very concerned about sexualizing children in the schools. Our foundation is to protect children from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and children are very vulnerable to sexual abuse and exploitation. And while we have wonderful teachers in the schools, we do need to point out, and I do want to point out, and this is in relation to the Right to Read bill, that according to the U.S. Department of Education, investigated misconduct in the classroom, 10% of students experience sexual misconduct. Yeah. And there's 40 million survivors of sexual child abuse in America today. So this is a serious problem that needs to be contended with. And I know you're a wonderful board. You do some great work in terms of education, particularly in the area of math. It's time to begin to look at how we're harming our children and the mental illness as a result of sexualizing them in the schools. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I will leave you my testimony that I gave before the Senate. I will leave you that I hope everyone gets a copy of, what's considered perfectly normal for 10-year-olds, and I do hope that you get a chance to look at it.
Right.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you for sharing your comments. Anybody else wishing to speak this evening? Okay. Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by myself, seconded by Ms. Bourdain. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Meeting is adjourned. We'll see everybody November 21. That's a Thursday. Thank you.